prioritize the product backlog. Okay, he helps the team to clarify the doubts. Okay, whenever they are stuck. And coming to the Scrum Master is the can say uh, is the representative. He conducts all the events. For example, whatever the events which are there, which is in the time box, and it will get a highest value of out of it. Okay, he removes the impediments. Okay, whatever the if the Scrum team faces. Okay, he makes sure that all the events are time boxed and to a greater extent produce highest value out of it. Scrum Master. Okay, the third thing is the developers. Developers are the persons who are responsible to develop, provide an increment after every sprint. Okay, they are the person who will be working on the product and delivering it. The developer means it combines of coders, tester, BA, and architect. Okay, these are called developers. Earlier in 2017, they used to call as development team. Now they in 2020 Scrum Guide, they are called as developers. Okay. Earlier Scrum Master used to be called in 2017 as a servant leader. Now he is a leader. Basically called as a Scrum leader. He is a solo responsible as the developers and the PO. Earlier, he was just a person who used to take care of the Scrum and events, but he was not a responsible person. Now, as per 2020 guy, he is the responsible person. Okay, whatever the sprint goal, if the sprint goal is not reached, he is also solely responsible as per developers and the product owner. Okay, this is an outline of the accountabilities. So next comes the three artifacts. Okay, one is the product backlog, sprint backlog, and the increment. Okay, so the product backlog is nothing but anything and everything which is related to the product. Okay, it may have the user stories, epics, bugs, okay, spikes, and everything which is related to the product. Okay, and it's a dynamic product backlog, we can say, because we are going to add them the user stories one by one till it ends, and there is no end till the product ends. So we can call it as a dynamic product backlog. Okay, and the dynamic product backlog should be prioritized. Okay, so whatever the product PO responsibility is to prioritize the product backlog while discussion with the business stakeholders. Okay, and the product backlog will have the basically we can have a product backlog health. Basically, if at all the story points is of 40, so Scrum Master responsibility is to keep the 80% story points available for the coming sprints. Okay, so that we can say it as I would say the product backlog in a good health condition. Okay. The second is the sprint backlog. So product backlog main aim is the product goal. Okay. So then the second is the sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is nothing but the subset of the product backlog. So whenever there is a sprint backlog, in a sprint backlog lifetime is only for a little bit of 1 month. Okay, if at all your sprint is 1 month, then the product sprint backlog lifeline will be that 1 month only. If at all it is 2 weeks, then it is 2 weeks only. After 2 weeks, the sprint backlog will be collapsed, or the sprint backlog will have an end date. Whereas the product backlog will be going till the product runs. Okay. So the product backlog main aim is to have a product sprint goal. Okay. The next is the increment. Okay. Whatever the output which comes out of the sprints. Okay. And in a incremental way, it's called as an increment. Okay. It's nothing but a sprints output. Okay, whatever the sprints output which we have produced is nothing but an increment. Okay, and the basic purpose of the increment we can call it as when the increment is done is called as definition of done. Okay, when we say that the definition of done is met and increment is born. Okay, these are the Scrum artifacts. Now we are coming to the events. There are 5 events in the Scrum. So first is the sprint, second is the sprint planning, third is the daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. So basically, sprint is nothing but a heartbeat of the Scrum, where it is around 4 weeks to less than to 4 weeks. Okay, and where ideas are turned into values. A basic idea would be there, which would be delivered into a value. And basically, new sprint start immediately after completion of the previous sprint. Okay, this is the sprint. Okay, the coming to the sprint planning. Sprint planning. Okay, the sprint planning would be done on the first day of the sprint. If at all you are taking a 2 week sprint, the sprint planning will be done on the first day. So as per this Scrum guide, it is 8 hours for 4 week sprint. Okay, the timeline, whatever it is there. So here the developers pull the items from the product backlog based on the what we say product backlog prioritization, definition of done met, velocity and capacity. These are the metrics which are mandatory to pull an item from a product backlog item to a sprint backlog. Okay. Prioritization is there, which is whatever the things which are prioritized or groomed, because it should be story points before the sprint or the sprint. There is a backlog grooming meeting which is done, okay, which is not in the Scrum guide, but it is very useful for us to get in touch with the news story which is already started, so that it is easy for in the sprint planning to for the developers to move forward. Okay. So once this is done, basically 5 story points based on the capacity and velocity. Velocity is nothing but an average of 5 sprints. It's a rate at which your team delivers these story points every sprint. So for example, if at all our average velocity for the last 5 sprints is 40, so we will try to take a 40 plus or minus 5 story points to be delivered in that sprint. Okay. So the outcome of the sprint planning meeting is the sprint goal and the sprint backlog. Okay. So this is done. So every day, the third event would be the daily scrum. So first day, we will not have any daily scrum because we are having the sprint planning. From the second day, we are going to have a daily scrum. It is a 15 minutes meeting as per the scrum guide. It is taken place at the same time and at the same place to maintain the consistency. Okay. So developers, it's a developers meeting where developers come and improve or discuss the progress towards the sprint goal. Okay. So earlier in 2017, they used to have 3 mandatory questions: what you have done yesterday, what you are going to do today, and what is the impediment. But as for 2020, it's not mandatory. You can follow any procedure, but it should be your mind goal should be deliver a sprint goal. Okay. You should work as per the sprint goal. So developers will come up, will discuss, they will take one by one name and they will provide their input. Okay, if at all the team follows the same questions. So once it is done, these Scrum Master issues, Scrum Master and the product owners are only the members. They need not to join mandatory. If at all they are working as a developers or the tester, they can join as a developer and tester. Okay, so this is the input. And for the sprint planning, all the Scrum team, product owner, Scrum Master, and the developers are mandatory. Okay, and you can ask any subject matter expert on a need basis. It's not like he is mandatory to join. Okay, the third event and this daily scrum goes with a 10 days. Okay, and on the ninth day or 10th day of your sprint, if at all you are considering 2 week sprints, there will be a sprint review. Sprint review is nothing but the output of demo shown to the stakeholders or the business people on what the output you have come from the sprint. Okay, it should not be a PPT, it should be a live demo shown to the developers. Okay, so Scrum Master responsibility is to proactively send an email prior to the 1 day or 1 week, okay, so that the developer or the stakeholders can join. The main purpose of the stakeholders to join is to inspect the progress or to know what the expected and the actual output, what they are coming it out, so that they are as per the market or not, they will get to know. Okay. So the questions what Scrum Master asks to the stakeholders is that they need to ask the open questions to the developers who and the product owner who has delivered shown the product output. Okay, and take the feedback, and the feedback should be mentioned in the conference. Okay, which should be clearly mentioned. And if time permits, you can also discuss the coming sprints. Okay, and as per the Scrum guide, the time for this is 4 hours. Okay, and sprint review is very important so that it's the only time where developers get to interact with the business and get to know what their actual requirement is. Okay, and the market, how the market is flowing, if at all, because as per the product backlog, if at all we have prioritized, is it as per the market or not. So this is a very important discussion where because the developers hesitate to speak in this meeting, so we will encourage the developers to speak in this meeting. So the final meeting would be the event of the sprint is the sprint retrospective. Okay, it is the meeting where Scrum Master, developers, and the product owners will join, and it would be a question where Scrum Master responsibility, because here is the only place where Scrum Master takes the solo responsibility and is the person who speaks each and everything. So the team discusses what went well in this with respect to the sprint, what did not went well, okay, and the team uses a number of techniques to get in touch. Basically, the Scrum Master first is to, because they have done the 2 week sprint, they will be very hectic. So first, Scrum Master will do a icebreaker section, try to minimize stress from the like any games, any small events, or any questions. Then they will discuss about what went well, what did not went well, what were is it was the flow very peaceful, was any impediments you have faced which you wanted to change it out. Okay, these are the questions which are asked by the Scrum Master, and he proactively asks the developers to come up and answer it. Okay, so that it's a open-ended questions. Once it is done, this meeting, it is for 3 hours as per the Scrum guide. Okay, and the developers, the Scrum Master make sure that whatever the action items which comes out of that meeting is noted down in the Confluence page. And he asks proactively the developers team to take the responsibility of any top two action items, so that in every daily Scrum, they discuss about that point, and in the next retrospective, the Scrum Master makes sure that the 2 points are discussed. So this is the flow of what 353 rule is as per my understanding, sir.
Excellent, Avinash. Anybody has question because you already covered all the points. So anybody has question regarding 353? As I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir.
So anybody has question like Noor, Ans, Mira? This session is mostly for like Scrum, and these are the main thing in the Scrum, like 353. It's going to cover so many things in the Scrum. If you know 353 means you know most of the thing in the Scrum. So that's the Vinas has completely explained each and everything with the like 2020 uh, 2017, and after 2020 what are the changes was there. He explained that also. So if no question for anyone, can I go next?
So you can go for next.
Okay. So
Yes, Mukesh, we can go ahead, I think.
okay. So what is the main difference between velocity and capacity? Anyone want to highlight that?
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Capacity is the like velocity you get to know after completion of two, three, minimum three sprint or two sprint, in which you get to know the average velocity. Velocity is the average story point you have done in the last 3 points or something. That's the velocity that will define your velocity for your team. Now, capacity is based on the working hours available, based on the team members available for that particular sprint. It may be possible your velocity is like 35 points, but because of some holidays, leaves, your working hours, man hours available will be less. Based on that, you may define your capacity for a particular sprint. So when you are planning for the sprint planning meeting, when you are coming, so you should know what's the velocity for the last three sprint and what is the approximate capacity you are expecting for this particular sprint. So that's based on the velocity and based on the working hours, man hours available. You may decide the capacity for a particular sprint.
Excellent answer. So the same thing, like velocity depend on like how much story point you have completed, and capacity based on your timings and your resources. Depend on that, we decide. Excellent. The next question is coming like, what is the difference between like velocity and throughput? Any idea about the throughput? It comes under the Kanban. Lead time, cycle time, and then
Throughput is the
throughput.
how many stall point you have delivered per unit. It's like how many. Throughput is based on the task you have delivered. So Kanban is does not have any estimation. You generally take up the task. These are the tasks, and I will complete the task. It's the work in progress kind of thing. So how many tasks you have completed is the throughput. Based, it may be weekly or it may be monthly. It's the throughput rate it will define the number of tasks completed in a month. So that will define your throughput, and velocity is based on the estimation story point. How many story point you have completed in a particular sprint? It may be 2 week, 4 week.
Good. So the next question, answer you can will give someone chance. Like Mira is also there. So what is the difference
Sure, sure.
between product backlog and sprint backlog? Mira, can you put some point here or? If you don't want to reply, you just say pass.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. So a sprint backlog is a backlog actually meant for the current for the active sprints, and so the stories are being prioritized for the main priority for that sprint if it's a 2 week cadence, and the backlog proper is the backlog where all requirements needed for all the requirements needed for the delivery of the entire product of the entire application are being a repository for the entire product requirement.
Okay. Anyone has any other thought? Or I'll give you very simple example you never forget in your life. Okay, I'll give you. So the product backlog, we just consider if you are going in the restaurant, you just see the menu. So menu, inside the menu, so many item is there, correct? So this is, you can just consider this is the product backlog. Now we are going to order something like 4 to 5 items inside the list we are going to order. The whatever we are going to order, that is for our sprint backlog, and when he'll be going to deliver that item, we are able to eat for that. So we just consider like product backlog is our menu, and whatever we are going to order for that particular night or day to have it, that is our sprint backlog. Got it idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One more question, like what is the definition of ready and what is definition of done? In definition of ready, what are the team members is involved, and in definition of done, what are the team members will be involved? Anyone want to give answer? You can. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically DOR and DOD are the checklists. Okay, so basically DOR is nothing but definition of ready. Okay, it is not. It is also called as entry criteria of the product backlog item. Okay, and this is a dynamic checklist, and the total Scrum team owns this. Okay, the Scrum Master, the developers, and the product owner. So basically, this is it's for example in the sprint backlog item. If at all we want to pull a product backlog item from product backlog to sprint backlog, we use this DOR as a gate. Okay, whenever the user story is ready to pull into our sprint backlog, we use this DOR. Basically, DOR for a user story to pull into the sprint backlog, the user story should be groomed well. Okay, it should be prioritized. It should be estimated. Okay, and acceptance criteria, which is one of the part of the DOR, is written properly. For example, with given, when, then condition. Okay, with NFR and FR details. Okay, and invest criteria. User story should have an invest criteria, which is nothing but independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. Okay, and most important thing, the dependencies should be identified and committed. Okay, so these are the main thing of DOR. Okay, to get an item from a product backlog to a sprint backlog. Okay, so the entire Scrum team prepares it, and the entire Scrum team owns it. Okay, based on the DOR. And the best event to review it or to do it is the retrospective. Okay, well, because it's a dynamic checklist. Okay, so and the DOR and DOD are same for all the product backlog items. Okay, and acceptance criteria is specific to the user story. Acceptance criteria changes as per the user story, but these two items are fixed. Okay, and the DOD, coming to the DOD, is the definition of done. To make a user story completed or done, we use this definition of done concept. For example, okay, the code is done, the unit testing is done, okay, the regression testing is done, and the code is merged to a correct branch, okay. and everything which is related to the testing and the user story, whatever the things and the acceptance criteria is met, whatever the points which I have written in the acceptance criteria. Okay, the testing is cleared, there is no bugs. Okay, and defect leakage is very less, which is less than 5%. Basically, it should be 100%, but if at all it is plus or minus 5. Okay, these are the things, and basically DoD is owned by the developers because they are the people who would be developing the code. So basically, DoD owns by the developers. So, and the acceptance criteria should be met. And the basic difference of acceptance criteria and DoD is like if at all the acceptance criteria is met, there is not a mandatory that definition of done has been met. Okay. If even if the acceptance criteria is met, there are chances the definition of done is not met. Okay. But when we say if definition of done is met, okay, we can sure that the acceptance criteria has been met. Okay, that's the only thing as per my knowledge, sir, which is DOR and DOD, and both are dynamic checklist. And if at all we want, we can change those priorities whenever team finds that some points can be added based on the output of the sprint or the feedback or the from the developers team. The team can change that in the retrospective meeting, and it's not my idea, sir. This is what my DOR and DOD means for me.
Excellent, Abhilash. One more point I just need to add. Even the DoD definition of done, one more things will be happening, like customer satisfaction also considered inside the DoD. Like whatever we deliver, he's accepting or not. So once he accepted, the DoD is completed for that particular sprint. So this is one point also it will be we add. And the DoD, when we are going with the DoD, whole the team will be responsible for that, like everything, even the tester, developer, Scrum Master, PO, our DevOps team also, where when they are going to deploy over the like live server and all. So here all the team will be included. So that is the whole idea for the DoD. Anyhow, you already completed the very nice way. Next question I'm going to
One
ask.
point I wanted to, sorry to interrupt you. There is one point which recently in 2025 guide, output done versus outcome done is what it has been implemented. Output done is nothing but the DoD. The outcome done is what you have mentioned that point, which is the customer satisfaction. So once the product is out and what is the output that customer is giving to us is the outcome done, which is mentioned in 2025 expansion guide.
Correct, correct. So, in this session, we learned so many things. Like we learned 353, where the whole Scrum is coming. We learned velocity. We learned DoD and DOR. This is very important. One more thing is called like zero sprint. Any idea what is the zero sprint and why we use it? Anybody?
Can I go, sir?
What's the question again, please? I don't understand.
One more thing is called that is called zero sprint in the Scrum area. Any idea?
Can you spell it, please?
Zero, ZERO, sprint, SPRINT. Zero sprint.
Wow. Maybe it's my first time hearing that. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you.
You just type on the, you can just type on the like chart GPT zero sprint. So I'll explain you what will be happen when will be used for that. Like when we are going to start any kind of the new project, so that the zero sprint will be called for that when we are collecting the team, when we are collecting the requirement, when we are discussing with the stakeholder, when we are making for start the project, when we are installing the software, all these things we are doing. This is not real starting the sprint. That's the reason it's called zero sprint, where we are ready for the start the project. We are ready for that. Like go ahead, kick off meeting kind of the thing. So the zero sprint will be there for that, where we are doing all these things. We are collaborating with the team members. We are gathering the team members. We are gathering the Scrum Master. As a Scrum Master here, he will be just going to explain about the what is a Scrum or how we are going to do, what is the like stand-up call, what is the retrospective, what is the like sprint review meeting, all this thing he'll be going to explain. So that is not billable part of this sprint. So this is the starting of the sprint. It's called zero sprint. Got me, idea? Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Got the idea.
Okay, and the next question I'm going to ask you guys, like, it's just going with the Kanban, like, what is the lead time and cycle time? Sometime they'll be ask you this question in the interview. What is the lead and cycle time? Throughput we already consider, we already discussed. So anybody want to highlight like what is the lead time and cycle time?
Let me give a short. So a lead time is mostly used in Kanban. So it's the amount of time a developer picks up a story and to the time.
I think your voice is breaking. Guys, you are able to hear us here, Mira? Avilas Ans, you are able to hear us, Mira? Hello, Mira, I think your voice is break. I'm audible, guys? I'm audible?
It comes in Kanban.
Good, good. So can you come again once again? Like what is you explained by lead time and cycle time? Abhilas?
No, sir. I was just telling. I have no idea basically, but I
Okay,
just
okay.
came
I'll
to know
explain
that
you.
the
I'll,
two
I'll
points
explain
are.
you. I'll explain you. So what is the lead time? Lead time is the whole time. Suppose some issue has been arise, and when arise and when will be going to finish, that is the called lead time. And what is the cycle time? Cycle time when the developer has already picked this issue and he'll be going to fix. So developer started like you suppose the bug has come yesterday and developer has started today and developer finished today evening. So yesterday and today evening, this is the lead time, and cycle time today he started and he completed in today evening. This is the cycle time. So you can just say cycle time the whole cycle time is like the whole time whatever the taking inside whatever the actual time has utilized, that is the cycle time, and the whole time is considered the lead time. Is this clear or I need to give you some more example? Is this clear for lead time and cycle time? So
It's okay for me too.
yeah, I'll give you some more examples. Suppose if I'm going to purchase one pizza, so I just punch the order to give me a pizza. So once I'm punching the order and I receive the pizza, that is my whole lead time. Now my cycle time, the person will be going to uh, uh, create the pizza, who's going to like make the pizza. So how much time he'll be going to take, that is the lead, that is the cycle time. So we understand lead time once I given the order and I receive, that is my lead time, whole bigger time, and the operator is going to make the pizza. Whatever the time he has taken, that is the cycle time. Okay. Next question, we are coming with the uh, in a Scrum. So what are the metrics we are using in the Scrum? Any idea about, anyone want to highlight, like burn down, burn up, velocity?
Yeah.
These are the
Can
things
go
is
ahead.
there for the matrix.
Can I go?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Avilas.
Okay. So basically, there are few matrices which, as a Scrum Master, you will take care of it. Mainly, there are 5 to 6 basically. One is velocity, one is the capacity utilization, one is the commitment reliability, and burn down chat and burn up chat. Okay, these are the few things which we will take care as basic. So coming to the velocity, velocity is nothing but is also called as average velocity. It is the rate or pace at which you are delivering story points every single sprint. Okay, so basically, velocity when it is helpful, if at all, um, it's after 5 sprints. If at all we wanted to go with the sixth sprint, and if you want to know how many story points we wanted to take it for the sixth sprint. Okay, so basically, the Scrum Master has an idea how to take the last 5 average sprint. Okay, so he will take the average, for example, last 4 or 5 sprints average is 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, or 43. So for the sixth sprint, you will get an idea so that you can take 40 as a average for the sixth sprint. Okay. So that, okay, for example, if at all the developers are going to take 50 story points in the sixth sprint, then Scrum Master can showcase this velocity chart and state that based on our average 5 sprints, okay, we are able to deliver 40 story points. So the Scrum Master can tell the team that we can take 40 story points so that we can reach the sprint goal instead of missing the sprint goal. So try to take the story points which are close to 40 or plus or minus 2, 38 or 42. So the average velocity chart will be helpful over there. Okay. The second one would be the capacity utilization. Okay. Basically, it is nothing but it's a matrix which shows how much percentage of capacity, percentage of utilized or capacity utilized of your team per sprint. Okay. Example, okay, where there are examples. Okay, let me give an example. For the sprint one, your available capacity was 100 man hours, okay, and the utilized was 80. So, and for the second sprint, the available man hours was 110 and the utilized was 90. So it's basically, it's nothing but utilized by available into 100. Okay. So your utilized was 80 and your available was 100. So you 80 by 100 into 100, which comes to 80%. Okay. So this will determine, okay, how much amount of or the man hours you have utilized for your sprint, because even if you are having 100 hours which were after all the deductions, for example after your leaves, okay, and everything, the scrum metrics and everything calculation, you are able to have 100 hours but you have utilized only 80 hours. Okay, so that's the reason 80% of which you have utilized. So the team has to work on the things where you try to come up with a utilization of the remaining 20% if where you are unable to use it. So this capacity utilization will help you to know how to utilize your team workers mainly. Okay. So the second and the third one would be the commitment reliability. Okay. So basically it's nothing but how many story points your team has committed and how much you were able to deliver. Okay, this is nothing but the commitment reliability. So for example, if at all you have committed 50 story points, okay, and you have delivered 45 story points. So commitment reliability would be nothing but delivered by committed into 100. Okay, so here we have taken 50, 45, right? So 45 by 50 into 100, it would be 90 percentage. Okay, so because we are unable to deliver the 5 story points, then it would be calculated. So the ideally, what Scrum team or the Scrum says that ideally it should be 100%. Your commitment reliability should be 100% because you have considered everything. Okay, then only you have divided you on 50 story points. So if at all you're unable to reach it, then it's a thing which you need to come up and discuss in the retrospective. Okay, these are the points, and you should make an improvement. It's not like it's a learning, adopt. Okay, because 3 pillars of Scrum, what we say is adopt. Okay, it's one of the adoption. So we need to adopt, we need to learn, we need to retrospect it, and we need to go with the next sprint. So improving, but you should increase. Basically, the commitment reliability, if at all it's 90 for the first sprint, okay, it should go with a increasing level, 92, 95, okay. So 100% if at all is coming, it's very good. Your team is very matured. But if at all your team is a new team, okay, then your commitment reliability may be less, okay, considering that they are from a new team. And next are the two main thing, which is the burn down chart and the burn up chart, okay. So the burn down chart, it's a graph matrix which shows how many story points of work yet to be burned. Okay, it's not. It's mainly at any given point of time. It's very important. It's at any given point of time is the one which need to be put in the burn down chart. Okay, basically the graph shows x-axis and y-axis. X-axis we have the number of days. Okay, for example, if at all we are taking 2 sprints, and in the y-axis we have the story points. Okay, so there are 2 lines in this. One is the ideal line, and other is the actual line. Okay, so if at all the ideal line is going above the graph, okay, above the sorry, the actual line is going above the ideal line, we are ahead of the, or we are lagging, wait, sorry, we are lagging in the sprint. And if at all it is below, we are above, ahead of the sprint. Okay, this basically there are a lot of discussions goes regarding this rundown chats, because for the first 3 days we will not be able to see any good progress, because the dev team will be working, the testing team will be working. So only after 3 to 4 days you will be starting to see the graph coming in a positive way. So basically, so in this point of view, the people say that instead of taking the story points in the y-axis, takes the man hours. Okay, so depending on the man hours, we can take this graph very clearly, because man hours will decide the developer working hours. It will be shown that it has been, there is some little bit of growth or the progress towards the sprint goal. Okay, so as per the rule, it is the very important metrics. The other would be the burn up chart, okay, where it will show the amount of work which has been completed. Okay, the only difference between the burn up and the burn down is there in the burn up chart there will be 3 lines. One is the ideal line, actual line, and the scope line. Okay, scope line is,
I think your voice is breaking, Vilas.
is it okay now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
So this is what the 5 matrices are, which are basically used in the team.
Yeah, excellent, excellent, Abhilas. So you were just adding like a Scrum value. So there are three things is there in the Scrum value. One is inspection, adoption, and transparency. These are the three value for the Scrum. The Scrum is already based build on these three value. So inspection, adoption, and transparency. Transparency one of the key in the Scrum area, where the people make sure that they'll be transparent for the team, Scrum Master, or the stakeholder or client. So this part is there. Inspection, like we are just checking every time in the retrospective what not going well. So we are just checking, and then we are just updating like, okay, we can do this way. So inspection is this part, and we are accepting the what are the things we need to do better. We are accepting, and transparency is already the part for that. So 3 pillar for the Scrum. Most of the thing we seen in the Scrum, like these are the area for the Scrum. I'll ask you one more question if you guys feel free for that.
Sure, sir. You can ask.
Okay. So in the Scrum team, what are the main role for a Scrum Master? What he will be do in the Scrum team? Anyone want to give the answer for that? Because sometimes they'll be going to ask you the what is the responsibility for the Scrum Master, or they'll be going to ask you, can you explain me about your daily work schedule? So these are the questions they'll be going to ask you sometime.
And I should answer.
I know you'll be answer. Wait, somebody else want to answer? Like Ans, Meera. If it is not, then Vilas, you can answer. Okay, go ahead, Vilas, you can answer it.
Okay, sure, sir. So basically, Scrum Master's role is to first and foremost is to remove the impediments. Okay, so uh, first of all, whenever there is any impediment which has been highlighted by the development team, okay, we should be proactively remove all the impediments of the Scrum team. The second thing, he should be solo responsible for the product owner. He should be connecting with the product owner to prioritize the product backlog in a better way so that it is very clear and updated and as per the market requirement. These two things are very important. He also gets in touch with the developers to give the psychological safety to make sure that team is very much working on the sprint only. Okay, he will block, for example, if at all some other teams are trying to give some work to the team, he will be as a shield to the team. He will make sure that the development team works on the sprint goal only and not deviate from the sprint goal. Okay, he also makes sure that the team is very much active. Okay, and they are learning. Okay, they will for example, if at all there are any new teams or new what we can say, new guides or new
New
applications which are
technology,
available in the market.
new technology is coming the market. New program has been launched. New AI tool has been launched. New technique we need to use. These all are the things he'll be just going to consider.
So one more thing, he also makes sure that the if at all some developers comes up with him, okay, and states that wanted to grow into a other team, okay, it should not make that it should support him. It should not like we should not be putting aside. We should encourage him that you'll be working on it. Just be wait for the right time. Whenever the right time comes, I will let you and assist you to go into the higher position. So basically, it's nothing but a psychological safety that Scrum Master has to provide to the developer teams so that they can open up, because most of the developers, if at all there are seniors and juniors, the juniors do not tend to open up very easily in front of the seniors because they may be lagging towards the project or product or the knowledge. Okay, so to come up, it should usually provide to a psychological safety and to a senior team members in the team. Scrum Master should have a one-on-one session and try to guide them and state that it's your responsibility to help the junior developers or the junior testers and give them some time to speak out. Okay, this is nothing but in everything what Scrum Master. It should be like a team, which it's a family, which you need to work and move forward. It's the basic things that which what Scrum Master responsibilities.
Excellent, Abhilas. Guys, today we have like whatever the Joho meeting will be going to end soon. So I'm just going to ask you one last question and then we will bind up this session. Anyhow, this is a very productive session for us. So the last question is, what is information radiator in the Scrum Master? Anyone want to give answer?
Your Jira board is the information radiator or something in which like everybody can see every time and the what is the status of your Scrum or maybe the whole project or something. These are the information ready or some dashboard you have created so that your leadership, anybody can see what is the progress of the project or something in which they can track easily. So these are the things which are information radiator, I will say.
Yes, correct on. So information radiative where they have written all the details, even the resource calendar also they have written like how many resources working, when somebody is on leave, this information. Along with that, like what are the project status report will be there, when we are, where we are. All this information has written inside the information radiator. Sometime like you already told, like senior people they want to see if they are not attending the meeting for the scrum or sprint review meeting, they'll be able to see the information radiator and they'll be able to calculate that okay, the project is this on the right track or whatever the things is there. So all the most of the project details has been written in on the information radiator, and based on that the people they'll be understand the project. Okay, lot more things will be there inside, like how what are the like reporting part you are doing in the scrum master, and apart from that the other thing like how you are handling the impediment, if one team member is not happy in your team, how you are making the morale up. These all are the question will be going to come inside the scrum interview, or even the project manager also they'll be asked sometime this kind of the question. So guys, today we learned so many things like 353, then velocity, then like what are the matrices we understand DOR and DOD. We understand what is the main difference between like product backlog with the sprint backlog. We understand like lead time, cycle time, throughput. We understand information radiator. We understand so many things today. Anyhow, to Monday, today's Monday. Wednesday, once again, we will make some session, and in this session, I'll just going to introduce some of the AI tools, how the AI tools is working right nowadays, and what are the main advantage for that. Like Jira with Slack, they are using sometime. Apart from like Jira internal, they are using. Then some other tools also there I have already written. Next time I'll share you that, and then we have to come with the like idea, like how we need to do it. Like Jira inside already there, Jira line is there, Jira advanced roadmap is also available. Microsoft team they are using NLP, like natural language processing, where we are writing our prompt and based on that we are working. Slack AI I already told. Microsoft Copilot is also there nowadays. Paralog integration with Jira is also there nowadays. For some testing automation tool, the people they are used, that is called Mabel. So that we can just see that how we are going to introduce next meeting. Some of the like smart task assignment like monday.com and ClickUp AI is some of the tools is there for the AI tools, and people are more keen to understand and learn. I'll already preparing some documents, and once I prepare the document for the AI tools, guys, I'll give you the detailed overview for that, how the people they are doing. Next meeting, one and two tools I'll include, and then we will discuss about more. And some of the interview question I also post in the group. So we will make sure we will prepare and we will discuss. So anyhow, the session is very good, nice. I already recorded today. I'll share in the group also so people can learn, understand, and grow more. Thanks a lot for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for conducting, sir.
Chris, I have a question just before we go.
Yeah,
Thank you
Mira.
so much for that insight. Yes, so this is a question that is really out of experience. So I've come in a situation where we are in an active sprint, and the requirements keep changing. We have defects coming in from production, and you really see when you're tracking the backlog, the burn down chart, you really see a huge gap. You see those requirements as they keep coming in and really kind of altering our active sprints. Now, you as a project, a Scrum Master, what are you going to do? How do you handle that situation with the team and the product owner?
The good question, Mira. I'll give you the answer for that. The first thing, we have very less time, but I'll give you the answer. The first thing you have to do whenever we are going to do the product backlog refinement, make sure, and sprint backlog planning, make sure that whatever the story points you are deciding, whatever the sprint you are deciding, you are just make sure you can break down with the very smaller unit, and then you can understand that okay, whatever the time we are giving, is this proper or not, and this whatever the story point, it's going with the invest criteria or not. Along with that, as a Scrum Master, you should do the proper DOR. Like inside the DOR, so many checklists is there. The first checklist, you can make the prototype and make sure that whatever the prototype is there, based on the people, they'll be understand what they are going to develop or not. And once they understand what they are going to develop or not, then he has the idea like how much time will be going to take for that. Make one more point, we need to make sure that it should not the any dependency each here and there, because if it is dependency, it will be not able to complete on the time. So all these things we need to do here. What you are going to miss, you are only the missing the whatever the sprint invest criteria is there, that you are not following. If you are following the like invest criteria, you should know that okay, because of this reason the developer is lacking and the developer is taking too much time. So that all the things you need to calculate, and then you can say that this is the reason. So as a Scrum Master, you find out the reason first, why that the is taking time, why they are behind the time, what are the reason the mainly is there. So if you find out these are the reason will be there, like invest criteria will be the reason over there. Either the whatever the story, it's not clearly defined. The second thing, whatever the story, it's not it will be so much dependency. The third thing, whatever the story, maybe it will be not given the proper times. Maybe the acceptance criteria has been not written properly. Maybe the tester is whatever the testing is not is testing beyond that whatever they have written in the acceptance criteria. These are the n number of reason will be there. So you need to just find out the reason, and then we can work on that. So Mira, this question we will once again we will update in the like next meeting, because time is very less. So the meeting will be going to over any time. So
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I mean, there were other scenarios that were cropping from there, but due to the time, we can have this more detail in the next call. I appreciate that.
thanks a lot. Now is closing. Bye. Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye
sir. Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye
you so
bye bye.
much.
The meeting has ended. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.